Howdy gang, Sky Pilot here, and welcome to my channel. I have a nice sturdy box in front of me with EACHINE on it. It's the Tyro109. Thanks for stopping by. Let's open her up. Okay, so what is in the box? EACHINE quality QC as always. And if you're expecting to pull a quad out of here, you would be very much mistaken, as this particular unit, the 109, is specifically designed for those who like putting things together themselves. For example, it comes with a plethora of goodies. So let's quickly have a look at what you get. A couple of props, VTX, pair of motors, controller, a load of carbon fibre bits and pieces, some more motors. These are the 2206 2400 kVs, some zip ties, looks like a carbon fibre battery base, much like what the 79S has down here. Caddx camera in here, the EOS V2, Lollipop RP SMA connector, a couple of carbon fibre spanners, because let's face it, you always need a carbon fibre spanner. Heat shrink plastic, a nice pair of sturdy EACHINE Velcro LiPo straps, more parts of the frame, lots of nuts and screws, lots more nuts and screws and stands, 6060 connector, and our VTX cables. Last but not least, stickers. So what I'm going to do now, folks, with you is, with the power of editing, I'm going to turn all of this into a big brother of one of these. Let's get cracking, let's get some tools out, and let's start assembling the 109. So first you want to lay all your arms out, lay out your motors, and the first thing to do is make sure your arms are facing the right direction, i.e. they're both opposing each other. You can't really go wrong, there's no right or wrong way as long as the two front and the two rear are the same. Attach your motors. At this stage I only just do things up slightly. Sticky tape the motor wires down. This makes it a bit easier when you want to heat shrink it later on. Also, you can see which is motor wire 1, 2 and 3, which is important for when you need to wire it up to the ESCs. And it doesn't matter which way you wire it up to the ESCs. However, if you do get it incorrect and the motors spin wrong, you have to go into VLI Heli and get that changed. So this will just stop you doing that job and ensure the motors spin correctly. Once that's done, get the center part of the frame and put all the arms together with the center cross underneath, and they should all sit nicely together prior to mounting on the bottom plate there with the 4 spaces that are included. So with it all done up tightly, then put on your nylon stack screws from the bottom going up. Start off with your ESCs down the bottom there. Make sure it's facing the right direction, so you want the capacitor to be facing backwards. Then go ahead and solder or tin all your 12 points or your motor wires. Once you've done that, get your flight controller and make sure your flight controller is wired up ready to go. Sorry, and your receiver is all wired up ready to go. Next part of the stack goes on. There's some rubber spacers that you need to put underneath the second part of the stack, the flight controller and on top of the flight controller. Make sure the right plugs go in the right plugs. I noticed this flight controller board did have a couple of extra plugs that you could mistake if you weren't paying attention, like I wasn't. So you've got everything soldered up, your XT60 plugs on, your receivers on. Give it a quick punch and make sure everything fires up as it should before we go any further and do the final assembly. So place on your VTX. The nylon nuts go on top there to complete the stack. And then we go ahead and assemble the last part of the housing frame. Not forgetting the camera. Everything you need for the camera is in the camera sachet, so just pull them out and it's quite simple. A couple of small screws to attach the camera on the sides. Once you've attached those, attach your lollipop antenna on the rear. There's only one way again that this can go. You're putting the extender on. Bear in mind, it does come with a couple of washers on that extender there. Make sure you take one of them off, otherwise you're not going to be able to screw your antenna on, as it doesn't give the thread enough purchase to screw it up tight. So top part's mounted, jiggled into place. It's quite a tight fit, so just be careful where you put your receiver, not touching the VTX too much. It does get very hot. So I'm just placing the receiver in here. I'm having the wires sticking out the front. I'm not going to run an extra camera on the top of this, so I'm quite happy to stick the receiver antennas from the front of this unit. I know some people put them underneath. You can put them wherever you want really, as long as they're not in the way. A little bit of clear heat shrink on top of the receiver. just so we don't have any mid-flight shorts. A little non-standard receiver mount here. You can see I've just grabbed a rubber mount which you use for the legs of quads. Actually just splitting that in half. Getting out the Bosch. Put in a couple of holes. Get some antenna straws, cut them to the correct length. Feed the antenna straws through. Fiddle around it a little bit. This is a nice soft mount for the antennas. The old trusty Bosch heat gun out and manipulate that straw out a little bit so that they're separated. On with the propellers, make sure they are aligned properly, battery plate goes through, battery strap goes through, a little adhesive pad underneath just to stop that 4S from slipping. It does come with some lighter ones as well, but I find the narrow one does the job fairly well. It doesn't make the Quad 2 tall, keeps it nice and short. I've got a 1300 4S on here I'm flying with at the moment. There you have it, gang, the finished product. If you've lasted this long, well, 100 million thanks to you, as it's been a fairly long build. It's taken me a few hours, not many hurdles to jump. Just a couple of things to remember when you're building this. Just don't install it with the washer, otherwise your VTX antenna won't do up with enough purchase. I've done some mods up the front here for my XM Plus receiver antenna up the front here, just to protect them, with a little bit of a bend in there, so hopefully that works. I haven't flown it yet. And here's a good one, gang. Make sure you add an additional wire. You can see my blue one here, attached to the RX4, which is the UART4 on your Betafly controller. Attach it to the spare pin on the VTX, and that will allow you to have smart audio. Very important. If you have any questions regarding your build of your 109, this video has helped you out. I'll try to make it as simple as possible and as painless, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it out in the field and I'm going to take it on its maiden. I'm pretty happy with the finished product. Can't wait to get into the sky. So let's go for a fly. Smash on that bell and thumbs up, and be sure to grab my next video of its maiden flight coming up very, very soon. Bye for now, guys. See you later.